Okay, namaste, great souls. Always wonderful to be here practicing together. And I will read the inquiry from a couple weeks ago, and I want you to just kind of download that into your experience, into your heart, and into the practice, not only on the mat today, but this is one I think many of us can relate to. So the question is, how can we stay detached emotionally and at the same time show compassion and empathy for our loved ones? So again, how can we stay detached emotionally and at the same time show compassion, empathy for our loved ones? So really, really rich question. I'm sure many of us have been practicing this in one way or another with varying degrees of success and non throughout our life, but it is a very much a yogic ingredient for our inner freedom. If we can be on this trajectory, if you will, it's not like some one-shot medicine thing I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you several things, but then we of course have to keep incorporating it and keep returning back to this intention. So at the very beginning, we can look at this like an intention, we could set our intention. And I like to ground intentions in a very simple way in the physical body, not only the mind, but bring, energy work to it, or physical work to it. So for example, if I was working with a client, I might do a whole thing of tapping around this, but this is not the protocol in our yogic class today. So what we'll do, we can set the intention by adding a mudra, thumb, index finger together. And we're gonna, like we did the other week, Scotty, if we can, we can, my wonderful husband behind the scenes. We're going to breathe in with the intention. I am breathing in compassion and empathy for my loved ones. And I'm breathing out what would be called reactivity, emotional reactivity, or whatever words you use. Okay, so breathing in, love, compassion, empathy, breathing out, emotional reactivity or attachment. Another way you can say emotional attachment. So do this several rounds. Breathing in, compassion and empathy for loved ones. You can go to each of the tip of the fingers with every round, or you can stay with your thumb and index finger. I like to go to the pinky 4 times to really just get clear on the intention. So we start with the intention. And we also, if we know, say we're interacting with our loved one, we're going to meet them, you could do this for sure before in the car, in your home, but especially throughout the day. And then as we do some neck release movements, I'll talk a little bit more because I know we want to get into movement as well. But really what I see as we're talking about, we'll have a discussion perhaps after. Bring the right ear to the right shoulder, extend through that left arm, take your right hand on the left side of the head. We're talking about the art of letting go, right? And it is an art of letting go. And so different traditions have different sayings for that. I'm sure you're aware of the let go, let God. If that works for you, let go, let Goddess, let go, let higher self. But we're trying to release our personal attachment to outcomes. And this is, as we know, really hard with loved ones because we inhale, come up. We have a certain amount of life experience. Bring your left ear to your left shoulder, right arm out to the side. And we can feel like we're really, you know, trying to help here. And maybe, I'm sure we are, extend through that right arm. But our loved ones may not want our help and may not want our all that energetic worry, concern, etc. that comes with our love and compassion. So art of letting go, we do that with our intention, with our physical movement, with our breath. Take some deep exhales here. Serenity prayer, I'm going to incorporate that into movement. Grant me, God, grant me, or Goddess, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay, let's bring the hands at the back of our neck. So we know this, we most likely know serenity prayer, but some version that works for you. Inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale, rounded spine. And the Buddha says that the root of suffering is attachment. I'll say that again. The root of suffering is attachment. And yogis say that inner freedom, we want to gain inner freedom, we need to release our personal attachments and desires. This is quite a big ask, but we have our lives to work with this. Releasing out to the side. So we can think of prayer as helping us, affirmation is helping us interlock, lift the heart, add a back bend again, and allowing compassion, love, empathy, and really we're also talking acceptance for others just as they are. Let's breathe into that one. Seems so simple. Accepting others just for who they are. Yeah, sounds great. It is great. It is the antidote to suffering. And when we do let go, we do feel lighter and freer, and we can sleep better at night, right? And happier. So one of the questions I like to ask myself when I am in a particular constellation with a loved one is, as you breathe in, breathe out, is it better to hang on to my, what I think is the way or the truth or whatever's going on? Or can I work on the art of letting go, and I'll certainly be happier when I get there. Okay. So just a big, broad brushstroke of a very rich inquiry that we have all been most likely in our lives in different ways with our loved ones around sending energy, compassion, empathy, and also how can we stay detached and not react and emotional. Okay, so that's the setup for our practice, how we're going to bring this into movement. I'm going to come to the mat. The last thing I want to say, formally say in the beginning is at night, we'll do this in Shavasana. We did it last week. It's put a bonfire at the spiritual eye and just kind of burn all that stuff through the day that we can't control. So that's a good practice to do as well. All right, so come into the mat. If you're probably already there. And we're going to start to unthaw some of this stuck energy in our body. Now we're going to come down onto the earth, onto the ground. So lifting the heart, lifting up, and then exhale it to the rounded spine. Again, releasing the neck and that spine in that hammock position. Inhale, lift. And now feel the core strength as you shimmy, shake down, low back, mid back, upper back. Press through the feet. Sweep the arms up overhead along the spine and feel the space all around you as you hug those knees in, rocking side to side. So as we relax, we use that affirmation of relaxing and casting aside mental burdens. We want to relax and cast aside our emotional attachments. So we're working on this by affirming it, by coming back to that deepest truth. Let's lift the legs and circle the ankles several times in each direction. And then we're going to open into a V and then curve those toes in and let the large toes touch, inner heels touch, and go out again. If it's helpful to have the arms out to the side more to feel more expansive through the heart and beginning to open the hips. Stretching through the hamstrings. Big breaths in, big breaths out. That, of course, is helping us letting go. The art of letting go. Many, many books, podcasts, philosophies are about this. Okay, and we're going to tap now. We're going to keep the low back plugged in. Have the knee, ankle perpendicular to the floor, and then tap down to the right ball of the foot, and then lift up. We're going to go simple at first, with core engaged. Feeling our low back plugged in, the entire back, especially the low back, as it tends to pop up a little bit. So starting more simply, and then reaching the arms up, plugging the shoulders in. We do that opposite by lateral movement to the brain. So beneficial. Right arm back, left heel touches. Back to center. Left arm back, right heel touches, low back plugged in. Back to center. Breathing accordingly. Inhale as the arm and leg touches, heel touches, and switching. Okay. When we do bilateral, we really do have to focus a bit more. That concentration and our intention. We do that equal on each side, and let's go and opening and the hips with 3 circles one direction. Inner borders of the feet together. And 3 circles in the opposite. So it may be a big cycle for you, or something's really coming up with a loved one about this particular dynamic. And if that is the case, they're probably on the forefront of your mind anyway. But let's bring them to the mat in a compassionate and loving way. You know, of course, it's their journey. They gotta figure this stuff out. As we're coming up, let's do this. A little windshield wiper with. We do this lying down sometimes, but let's do it. You could also do it seated. So no, we know it's their journey. They have to figure stuff out, and just think of them and breathing in love and compassion, maybe even some wisdom. As we release our, and you can be honest with yourself. I'm going to be honest with myself. I'm working on releasing my emotional attachment of how I feel would be a better, outcome scenario to whatever the situation may bring. Yeah, and I'd rather hang on, I'd rather be happy. And I know on the spectrum of things, things of course have higher stakes than others, so it's a little dicey. All right, let's get into our cat-cow, but with a hip opener cat-cow. So we've done, and this is great for the neck as well. I usually teach a down dog hip opener to incorporate, but just know you can do it in your cat-cow as well. So knees underneath the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders. Do a basic here to start. Exhale, rounded spine. Letting go. That's the exhale symbolic. Inhale the intention. Speaking out. Feel the heart up and to the spiritual eye, love and compassion to that person that's coming up in your life now. Exhale. That loved one. Now neutral spine. Bring that left knee in more. We're going to fold the right knee toward the forehead. We're extend out, and then we're going to bring that hip around. So let's do this 3 circles around. Fairly neutral spine. Opening up the hip in a different way. And the cat stretch. After you've done 3, come forward, come back. Lift up, I believe we did this last week, and add the push-up. Elbows in by your side, you'll feel that. And you'll like to do this 3 times. Rounded spine. Extend the leg out and up, and then the push-up. Big exhale, letting go. Letting go. Rounded spine. Exhale out. If it works for you, letting go, let God, let Goddess, let higher self. We want to raise our energy. And that's where the freedom is in the energy of rising to the divine. The outcomes we can't really, we could have, again, some influence, but certain things we definitely, especially with our loved ones, need to let go because they're not allowing. Okay, right knee in the center. Let's do that again. Left knee folds in. Now we're extending up and then circling that hip around 3 times. So circling, opening the hip. With the breath, with the intention, with movement, physically, literally releasing the emotional attachment as we fold in and extend out. So we feel that emotional attachment. It's pretty gripping. How we would like it to be. Oh, it's good to have humor too. And it is the yogis have a name, Leela, the divine play. The divine play. This is part of our attachment, is part of the divine play. That you can have a certain influence and things and other things mysteriously not. Okay, let's add our full down dog now. Hovering off the knees. Pouring our chest back toward the thighs. All those physical alignment principles pressing into the base, 4 points of the palms. And opening to that calm energy or more aligned energy radiating through every cell of my body. Every fiber of my being. Whole body stretch. Blood flow to the brain as we maybe ease side to side. See what your body, if you want to close your eyes and just tune in, if that gives you a better sense of interiorization, go ahead and do that. And then we're going to ripple into our plank. Step back a little bit. And we can do classic chaturanga, or we can do the knee down 3 chaturanga. So that same principle of the push up, strengthening the arms, the spine, the shoulders, as we come all the way down. All the way down. The angle, so you can see here a little different. Well, this isn't different. We're going to take rest and just melt down, stacking the hands at the spiritual eye, softening the shoulders. The more we can let go physically here, the more we can energetically and psychologically ask for help in that art of letting go. And returning to our higher, our 6th chakra, the higher wisdom, our inner freedom. The more we can let go, the more we can attune to inner freedom. And it is a big ask, but it's so important. So it's different here when we do our locus. What we're going to do, not quite like when we were on our back, opening our legs, but we're going to open our legs out and bring them in as we're in our locus series. So what this looks like, we're going to fan our toes. We're going to lift the legs. We're going to bring them out to the side, engage the core, and then draw those inner borders of the feet together 3 times. Very strengthening. So release out, forehead still at the spiritual eye. We'll bring the toes in, inner borders of the feet together. The feet are still off the ground. And then out to the side again. So we can still get our locus series here in a little different way. Releasing down. And then bring the hands in our more classic variation of cobra. Oh yeah, we gotta do the shoulder dental floss here. Shoulders are really, that holding on can happen in this area for sure. So we release it out, we rise up, maybe halfway, maybe on the knees, maybe off the knees. Lion's breath, stick out the tongue, eye gaze up. That's the way to release it out. Detaching emotionally from our expression of what we might say that would be helpful to our loved ones. The big one. And wisdom to hold it in. And then walk the knees in, round the spine, send it back with the neck. And let's take it up to our front and down dog again. So we're going to take off the knees, any way you like, bending it out. If you want to ripple through, go ahead and do that. Calm energy. Through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. And then step 1 foot forward and the other. Step 1 hand forward, then the other. Into Uttanasana. Massaging back above the neck, the ego at the 2 hollows there in the medulla oblongata. This is a affirmation for letting go after I'll say it after we, as best as we can. We can let go, attach from our emotional activity to our loved ones. So as we say, I relax and cast aside any mental burdens. I'm going to relax and cast aside emotional attachment for my loved ones. And we're going to come up, relax, and cast aside emotional attachment. Now, we do have them. mean, let's be honest, we do have them, but we're working on releasing those things that don't serve us, cause blockages. And as we release out again as best as we can those emotional attachments and reactivities. Our loved ones, what are we bringing in? We're bringing in a love and compassion. On their journey of discovery. Hands to the heart. Cross at the thumbs, just breathe in the love and compassion. Visualize that person and let's bring them into your heart. They're in your heart. They're already here. Beautiful practice. Layering on that tongue lens practice of what we're breathing in and what we're breathing out. We're breathing in love and compassion for our loved ones. We're breathing out emotional reactivity. This play is going on a lot with our loved ones and different, and different times it's a tsunami, other times it's gentle waves, most likely. Okay, we're going to, as promised, with the full moon, do a variation of full moon, and I'd like to add the serenity prayer or any prayer. This is an example of any prayer that speaks to you or any affirmation that speaks to you to incorporate it into your yoga flow. So we know strength and courage is in our half moon. So in our full moon flow, we're going to open up, we're going to expand those wings of joy wide. We're going to clasp on to the left wrist and tailbone tucks down as we arc over to the right. God, Goddess, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. So grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Really breathe into that intention. Grant me, and you can say it louder than softer, the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Inhale, coming up. Those W arms. And then here's the courage part, clasping the right wrist or arcing over to the left. Give me the courage to change the things I can. Give me the courage to change the things I can. So in psychology, that would be where that middle of the letting go, what we can't change, what we can, and then that middle where they overlap, the courage to change the things I can. Maybe it's a dialogue with that person. Maybe, this is where we have to open up. Courage to change the things I can, and then see if there's any receptivity. And we'll know on the other side. Or it may take a while. Inhale, back to center. And the wisdom to know the difference. So as you can take any yoga pose. I mean, and then there's classic affirmations for each pose. But you can, if something speaks to you, you can bring it in, of course, to your movement. I probably say that every time. A real quicker version, just to before we go more into the, it's to arc over, let go. I want you to let go. A couple breaths here. And then inhale, coming up, switch. Help me to let God. Help me to let Goddess. Help me to go higher to inner freedom. Because our attachments do create some congestion in the heart. We know that. Lengthening up and opening. So the more simpler affirmation or the longer, whatever works for you. We're going to step it wide and move this out. I'm going to sip of water here and dry today. Go into a goddess squat before we go into triangle. So toes are turning out. There you go. And bringing in compassion and empathy. Do that 3 times. And goddess. And then we add the twist. We look over our right shoulder. Several pulses here. And then back to center. And then over our left shoulder. And, oh yeah, I forgot to ask what island for the group we're going to today. Or what body of water that's peaceful and calm. Pulsing up. Turning our left foot in, our right foot out, Trikonasana. So having that flow, shoulders, elbows, wrists, and then the expansion. Use a block if you'd like. Let's open the right side of the body. Let's keep it open as best as we can. Engage those legs very dynamically. Letting the hand come in lightly by the block or the shin, the ankle, stacking the shoulders. Let's add that mudra. Okay, thumb, index finger. So we know the classic affirmation, beautiful energy and joy fill my body cells. So we'll say it on this side, extending maybe into Utthita. And then if we want to bring that person, our loved ones, whatever's coming up for you, the breathing in, energy, joy, compassion, wisdom, may they operate on those frequencies as well. Those are all divine qualities I just mentioned: energy, joy, compassion, wisdom, the right use of power. That's kind of probably what the big ask is, get the right alignment, the right intention going on, and that, as we know, it's a journey. It's a process for all of us. As we come up, that hand comes down. We bend the knee quite a bit. And we rise up in just a moment of our bent knee warrior. So we're bending the knee toward the little toe side of the foot, the right knee. And then we come up. We turn the toes in. Before we go to the other side, we're bringing that prayer of care. Again, breathing into our heart, our intention, breathing in compassion, empathy, wisdom, wishing that for our loved ones. And then as we reach around, we're releasing as best as we can. We can ask, help me release my own emotional reactivity. Help me to soften my attachment. Align the shoulders around that. So help me to release my emotional reactivity and my attachment, especially with my loved ones. And then the hands come to the front of the hips, slight bend of the knees. We lift the heart, lift the head, coming up, turning our left toes to the side, right foot in 30 degrees. Fluid arms, open through the heart when you're ready. We're gonna bring that right hand down, left side body opens up. And then we come over, taking our time into Trikonasana. If you know any knee issues, have the knees slightly bent. This side's different on my body, so I'm going to use the block here. We're going to add the mudra, thumb and index finger together. Invite a loved one in our lives and offering them prayers of care, compassion, wisdom, energy and joy. Energy and joy. Fill their body cells. And as you let go, energy and joy gets to fill your body cells. Good. Do I hang on? Yeah, we could. We could for a long time. You know that one. Or with some grace, can I let go and find inner freedom? Inner freedom. Because we really don't own anyone or anything that can control anyone or anything. I don't know this, but it's important to speak it clearly and offering those prayers of compassion and are asking for our release. So when we, little differently, we're not quite coming up yet on this side. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down, bend the knee enough to turn around, have your blocks close by, and take a moment in pyramid. So this right toe pulls in, left hip pulls back, bowing to the wisdom of the heart. Now this is interesting. I don't usually teach this. If you want a twist, a little bit of a twist in your pyramid, you walk your hands over to the little toe side of the left foot. So you get more of a twist. That's too much. You just stay forward over, bowing to the wisdom of your heart. Bowing to the wisdom of your heart. And again, those prayer of compassion to that your loved one find the wisdom of their heart. You find the wisdom of their heart, or whatever that prayer is for you. That's something I might say. You may say something very different. Now, from our pyramid, we're going to do our standing split. So we're going to bend our left knee, and we're going to walk our hands forward. I do like the block for this. We're going to step the right foot in, and we're going to lift off that right leg. Bend the elbows if you can. Maybe reach behind for the calf, maybe not. And our standing split, Hanumanasana, split pose. We don't, this can create splits within us when we're not in acceptance. And it's a process, definitely, to get to acceptance. And then we step back, take a moment in pyramid. Continue to bow to the wisdom of your heart, offering, asking for prayers of compassion to come into the wisdom of your loved one's heart. They find their way. And then we come up and we circle. Take a moment in goddess, so toes turn out, squat down. Star pose, and then I'm going to take my blocks over to the other side. And up into our pyramid pose by bending your right knee, set up the blocks, left foot faces forward, draw that right hip back, left hip forward. If you want to add the twist, you bring your hands over to the little toe side of the right foot.
So the poses we normally do, we can just add something and it kind of changes up the ingredient a bit. We're still affirming and offering prayers of care, the wisdom enter our loved one's heart. Understanding their ability to open. And over again, taking our time to our standing split. So this is challenging. This is we're going to bend the front knee and we're going to step the back left foot in. We're going to look in front of the toes here and see how our standing split is going on this side. Strong through both legs. Maybe reaching the right hand behind the calf. Maybe not. Maybe both. Maybe not. Finding your center. Amidst the challenges of being overly attached to outcome, reactive processes. We want to soften those. And when we soften those, come back. Inhale, rising up. Our heart, just like in this pyramid pose, our heart is at a quieter vibration. So let's step our feet together and tune into that. Belly, heart, crown. It's active now, it's intimate, but there's perhaps a calmness. We're asking not to be as reactive. Detachment means that we soften that reactivity and we go feel the calmness, peace, if you will. And our heart is in alignment. Something higher, our personal self is aligning to our higher self, and our higher self is leading the way for freedom. And our heart frequency can vibrate. People can feel that. Your loved ones can feel that. Feel the opposite of that. So let's do one more wide angle forward Prasarita Padottanasana. Okay, so the calmer heart, even though we're in an active pose, opening compassion, prayers of compassion and empathy for our loved ones in our locking. And then you're releasing your emotional reactivity, casting aside those overactive mental anxieties, inflammations, the 10,000 what ifs. Sliding the hands down the sides of the legs, bringing the crown of the head towards the earth. Releasing, asking for help maybe to release these emotional reactivities and burdens. And your loved one needs to figure out through their wisdom and compassion. Palms face down. And cleansing the brain. We're going to bring our hands forward. And we're going to heel, toe it in to complete this variation of the full moon cycle, full moon flow. Bending the knees, sweeping the arms back, and this way, slicing through. Over involvement that doesn't help. We're so good at it. We know so much. Inhale, I'm just laughing at myself. Inhale, reaching up. Feeling the space all around.
And then opening those wings of joy and seeing which affirmation speaks to you. I will speak the longer one, the serenity prayer, as we arc over again, tailbone down. God, Goddess, grant me the serenity to accept the things that cannot change. Grant me the serenity to accept the things that cannot change. Inhale, coming up. Last being, before we go into W, the right wrist. The courage to change the things I can't. Stay with your half moon. Again, that would be the center overlap of the circle where we have a sphere of influence, perhaps, of the courage to change the things we can. This is the things we can't. This is the things we can. And there's an overlap. It's not just separate. Noticing what that sphere of influence would be, maybe testing it out. And then coming up, and then the wisdom to know the difference. And you'll know with that sphere of influence, what that wisdom, what that result is. I hope this makes sense. And circling around. And then going up the spine with our hands. So taking our hands from the low back. This is upward. The back of the heart, back of the shoulders. And the back of the neck, that hammock to the back of the neck. Just as we were doing seated, we could do this standing. So around the spine, folding in, arcing curl. Mini stretches. I mean, we have a full yoga class, but this would be a great one for a mini stretch, what we just did with the hands up the spine and this rotation, and then stretch here and there. Mini stretch. And then feel the space all around you. Give a moment. Index finger. And again, you can root your intention, saying that. With every breath, going along to the little finger, or you can just stay with the ring in your thumb. Breathing in, compassion, empathy. I'm saying it again and again. The mind uses repetition. Out emotional reactivity toward others. All right, let's come into Malasana if your knees can. So we come down in a deep squat, maybe rocking side to side. And then we come down here. Take a moment and circle with making sure the shoulders are down. In fact, let's press the hands down and circle the neck. Not this kind of circle, this extension, strengthening of the neck 3 times in one direction like a turtle, and 3 times in the opposite. Have some gratitude for the animals in our lives. As we breathe in, as most of the poses are emulated after. And let's go ahead into our Jani Shirshasana. So extending the left leg. Right knee is bent, twisting toward that extended leg. This is another affirmation about release. This is a long one. Inhaling. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul is like a weightless balloon soaring upward to skies of eternal freedom. So that inner freedom, that eternal freedom, use the strap, elongate the spine first. My soul is like a weightless balloon soaring upward to skies of eternal freedom. This practice of non-attachment, letting go, the art of letting go, allows us the inner freedom. That's what we all want. As we exhale. That's the biggest desire, perhaps. Remember that, all this personal stuff. So every exhale, letting go, as best we can, knowing that, we will step in when necessary, of course, all that healthy boundary stuff. We're not saying, delete that, no. But today we're at the art of letting go. And the freedom that brings. Inhale. And bring us more into the truth of the situation that we can't control a lot of it. Twisting. And then before we go to the other side, let's go ahead, another hip opener here and rock the baby. So also giving ourselves that nourishment, that kindness. I forgot to say that as we struggle through this letting go, to breathe in compassion to ourselves for this kind of grip that goes on around our loved ones and the reactivity in our own bodies. So of course, the yoga will help thaw that out, but we want to consciously breathe in love and compassion as we, go through it. And if we can't catch it then, we can catch it afterward. Bring ourselves loving kindness. Maybe feel this loving kindness. Because it's most likely coming from a place of caring. It's most likely coming from a place of caring and love. Our wishes for our loved ones. So we're going to, we definitely want to bring love and kindness to ourselves. All right, move the cheek side to side, twisting, facing that extended leg. This wonderful affirmation. Nothing on earth can hold me. My soul, like a weightless balloon, soars upward to skies of eternal freedom. It's like freedom is almost the opposite of attachment. Elongate in the spine. Soul, like a weightless balloon, goes upward to skies of eternal freedom. Big exhales. Every exhale, releasing the bondage, the stuckness, the grappling, hoping things are different. They're human. And having compassion for yourself. Inhale up. Switching the arms up. Bring the arms out to the side. And a nice twist. And then rock the baby. Side to side. So you may be over the class, you may do some kind of variation like this. And we'll open up the hip in different ways. Maybe lots of ways to do hip openers here. So heart, hips, shoulders, big holding areas, but also the big release areas as well. So releasing that which binds us as we extend that leg past the other, the heel perhaps, shake it out, come down onto our back and do a neck release. Okay, so like we started way long ago, we're gonna have a little tap that we broke from all the way down. If you're down already, that's okay. We're gonna tap, tap, tap. Exhale to the mouth, tap, tap. Make sure you're even on both sides before we do our release. Chin shake, low back, mid back, upper back, arms up, elbows bend, and that hammock to the back of the head. Make sure your weight of the head is resting in the palms of your hands. And we're just gently easing our head to one side. So this is a supported neck release. And back to center. Releasing our head to the other side. And back to center. And melting down, so letting the back of the head rest. And we do leather neck release, hip release simultaneously. We did it seated, the windshield wiper. Feet are wider on the outer corners of the mat. Arms are out to the side, and the T opening the heart. And we're dropping the knees to the right as the head turns to the left. Just like we were seated, I like to sometimes take my left hand and ease I'm doing it pretty strongly. Decide how much extension you're extending through that right arm. Releasing the sternocleidomastoid muscle in the back, opening to the divine life within you and all around you. The neck release as we're doing hip opener and twist, so 3 for 1. Yay. Divine life is within me and all around me. The head comes back to center, engage the core. You guessed it, the knees come up. I adjust onto the spine. And the knees drop over to the left. The head turns to the right, the opposite, bilateral. The right hand comes over and open up that side of the neck. We straight through the arm. My life is within me and all around me. Deep belly breathing. Physically letting go. And these are all in layers and layers and layers. We're shedding, we're shedding, we're shedding. We accumulate, we shed, we drop, we release. And the wisdom of aging, we can see where certain activities are going to take us and not good. But yeah, we find that, you know, we got to work with that energy and transmute that. Engage the core. Back the knees in to release the back. Circle around. Now, yes, time for Shavasana. I'm going to, offer, it's always up to you, like up the wall. If your hips are okay and you want more of that hip opener, a Supta Baddha Konasana or a classic Shavasana, whatever works for you. If you got low back issues, put the bolster underneath the knees or have the feet on the ball, the back will be flat. Here's a Supta Baddha Konasana. You can use a strap or not. If your head is jacked back, you want a little bit of a blanket, get yourself just in as much ease as possible. And getting yourself now, you may need to get whatever you need here to cocoon, to nest, or a deep restoration. Water and closer. Shift towards Shavasana. Let go. As we get cozy and cocooned, the warmth of a blanket, eye bag, all the props that help you putting this. So if you're in a position to release your head from side to side, go ahead and do that. Anything that's going to help you drop in more. And as we've been speaking throughout, maybe if you're in a position to add the mudra, bringing the thumb and the index finger together. Let's breathe in compassion, empathy, and wisdom for our loved ones. We breathe out our emotional attachment and reactivity. And maybe shift to the other finger. Feel what that's like. Breathing in compassion, empathy, and wisdom for our loved ones. Breathing out our emotional reactivity and attachment. Keep going. Breathing in. Breathing out. Hear the sound of your breath. Breathing in, compassion, empathy for loved ones. Breathing out, emotional activity and attachment. Help me with the art of letting go. Softening the eyes, relaxing the jaw, the upper and lower jaw. Feeling the cool air as you inhale through the nostrils and the warm cold air as you exhale through the nostrils. And as we talked about creating that bonfire at the spiritual eye, that fire of releasing our attachments that get in the way, that clog, and it's meaning well most likely, but they create tension, they create holding. There's a lack of flow in the heart. So breathing into the heart. Feeling that calmness, that peace, that natural alignment of our inner freedom. Connected to our spiritual eye and the crown of our head, upper chakras. Helping me, asking perhaps guidance and help to love and accept others just as they are, as they're learning their life lessons. Feel radiant sensation easing down the arms, left and right. Natural bend of the elbows, left and right. Natural bend of the wrist, left and right. Notice the palms of the hands if they're in mudra or they want to open, they want to be placed on the heart of the belly. Just feel that connection. Maybe the temperature in the palms of the hands. edges of the fingers and thumbs. And the ventilation of the ribs. That deep breath in the belly and the low back. Knowing when you let go, you feel lighter and freer. Would you rather hang on? Or would you rather be happy? And feeling the legs now, the thighs left and right, the knees, the calves, the ankles, all the way through to the soles of the feet, digits of the toes. The back body's against the earth, really allowing yourself to be supported. Let yourself receive support. Let yourself love and receive love. So much of this attachment is rooted in caring. We want to bring that compassion and care to ourselves as well. Let the front body be lighter. Returning again and again to the deepest truth, the highest awareness, the inner freedom, that you're already whole, you're already free, you're already aware. And simply resting in this acceptance of the truth of who you are, the truth of where your loved ones are, in their journey, in their path, in their way. And the more you can practice the art of letting go, the greater the inner freedom. And just noticing if you'd like to Stay in Shavasana and absorb that interiorization longer. You're certainly welcome to do that. But if it's time for you to make that transition to movement, do so in a way that feels good to you, your body, your being. And if you are making that transition, taking your time to come up. And where we classically yoga send healing prayers to others, but we've been doing this the whole time. We've been doing it throughout our movement, throughout our breath, setting that intention and coming back to that intention again and again and again. So visualizing the loved one, our loved ones that you love to send healing energy of compassion, of empathy. I'm putting in wisdom because that's a big fuel of this, I believe. I know within myself of caring for others, loved ones, and seeing that they may be making, doing things that are not the best. And we want to send them prayers of care and release our emotional reactivity, our yeah, that's it. So we'll rub our hands together and we'll send Om vibrations to them. Inhaling 3-syllable Om sound. And bringing the hands in namaste, bowing to the wisdom of your heart, bowing to the consciousness that's awake and aware within everyone and everything. In that consciousness, we are one. Sometimes it's sleeping in others, sometimes it's dormant, but it's there. And we're awakening it within us through prayer, through affirmation, through practice, through all kinds of ways, through mudra, through intention, and easing into the rest of your weekend. I'm going to stop the recording now. And those who want